Okay, so you've probably heard this story before, right? Maybe when you were a kid. But what if I told you it's got this incredibly sharp lesson about how we treat each other, even today? Let's break down the classic fable of the crane and the fox.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple but kind of tricky question. Can a harmless prank actually tear a friendship apart? You know, it seems like such a small thing, but as we're about to see, the stakes can be surprisingly high.
All right, so our story kicks off with a friendship that, well, on the surface, seems a little unlikely.
So on one side, you've got Bolu the crane. His name literally means innocent, and that pretty much sums him up. He's a good-hearted, straightforward guy. And then on the other side, you have Chomsky the fox. And yeah, just as you'd expect, she's clever, a little mischievous, and definitely cunning. They're a classic odd couple for sure.
Picture this. Every single day, they'd meet up at the same riverbank. Bolu would be there to catch fish for dinner, and Chomsky would stop by for a drink of water. And over time, these simple daily meetups, they turned into a real friendship. Before they knew it, they were best buds. It's a pretty great reminder that friendship can pop up from the simplest little routines, you know?
But of course, one day, Chomsky's mischievous side gets the better of her. And that, right there, brings us to the fox's prank.
So she goes up to Bolu, all smiles, and says something like, "Hey, my friend, you should totally come over for dinner tomorrow. We'll hang out, talk, have a great meal together. Sounds super nice, doesn't it?" But yeah, you guessed it. Behind that sweet smile was a sneaky little plan.
Okay, so here's how she pulls off this prank. Step 1 is the invitation, all warm and friendly. But then comes step 2. She serves this amazing smelling soup, but she serves it on a totally flat plate. Now think about it. A crane with a long, thin beak, there's just no way he can eat from that. And that, of course, leads directly to step 3. Bolu the crane has to go home hungry.
So, Bolu heads home that night. And it's not just his stomach that's empty. He's got a heavy heart, too. He's really hurt. Because it hits him. This wasn't some accident. His friend, she had intentionally played a pretty cruel joke on him.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. Instead of just getting mad or upset, our innocent crane decides, okay, it's time to teach a lesson of my own.
So, what do you think? What's Bolu, our kind and supposedly innocent crane, gonna do? Is he gonna get revenge? Or just let it slide?
Well, the very next day, Bolu invites Chomsky over to his place for dinner. And the fox, she's so overconfident, probably thinking her little joke went right over his head. So she happily accepts. She has absolutely no idea what she's walking into. And this is where we see just how clever Bolu can be. The setup is a perfect mirror of the fox's prank. You've got the invitation, you've got the meal, but this time the food is served in a tall pitcher with a super narrow neck. Now it's perfect for Bulu's long beak, right? But for Chomsky's short snout, absolutely impossible. So step 3 is the same, but with a little twist. Someone's going home hungry, and you guessed it, this time it's the fox.
And it's right there, in that moment of hunger, that it all suddenly clicks for the fox. This is her big aha moment, the realization.
Chomsky leaves the crane's home feeling pretty foolish, and just as hungry as Bolu was the night before. The tables have been turned perfectly.
So what Bolu does here is actually demonstrate a really powerful idea called reciprocity. Now, usually we think of that as a good thing, right? Like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But in this case, it's used to create a shared negative experience. By making Chomsky feel exactly what he felt, that feeling of being humiliated and hungry, Bolu gives her a very direct, very effective lesson in empathy. And it worked! The very next day, having learned her lesson the hard way, Chomsky gives Bolu a sincere apology. And Bolu, showing some real class, not only forgives her, but he also apologizes for his own payback trick. And just like that, their friendship is back on track, and honestly, probably stronger than it was before.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? What are we supposed to learn? Let's get to the moral of the story.
It's so simple, but it's also powerful and totally timeless. You should never, ever think ill of others. A joke that comes at someone else's expense, well, that's not really a joke, is it? It's just a small act of cruelty, plain and simple.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that first question we asked. See, this story isn't really just about pranks. It's about all the little ways we can either build people up or, tear them down, especially the people we care about. So the real question isn't about whether you're a Chomsky or a Bolu. It's about asking ourselves if our own actions, even the small, harmless ones, are making our friendships stronger or if they're quietly pushing them to their limits.
Definitely something to think about.